Hello, good morning, everyone. God, I sound like a teacher then. So, ah, hello, hello. This is so frustrating, isn't it? It's always the tech. Hello and good morning. Okay, I'm gonna. Hello, Camilla. Cool, great. So it's not really so much the tech that you deal with. It's not so much what you're trying to do with the technology. It's how you deal with it because these things happen constantly. Right. Well, I'll start with I've got the delay again on Facebook, which is frustrating. I don't really want to hear my own voice, so I'm gonna turn myself down. So my name is, if you're not very aware, because I've sort of got my face and my name slapped everywhere, but I'm Catherine McMahon, and I run Catherine McMahon Consultancy, which is a digital marketing consulting, digital marketing basically company. We offer consulting, agency services, and training as well. So consultancy, I work one-to-one with clients, moving campaigns, product launches, things basically very fast and ahead of the competitors, as well as the normal profitability. With the agency side, we offer social media, marketing, management, strategy, content creation, service design, so working closely with teams from the whole of the life cycle of working with the consumer. We do website design, SEO, branding, communications, and video marketing as well. Now, I wanted to also talk about briefly was the training side. I do a lot of training and have built and developed Thinking, which is a new digital marketing training platform. Thinking is bite-sized digital training. So there's something, and there's tons of courses. There's something there for everyone. We do a huge range of topics. Some of them are longer than others. It is predominantly by Zoom at the moment. Understandably during the fact that we're in a pandemic. But we do event management, digital PR, Google Analytics, LinkedIn. You want to do something in TikTok, we can go in detail. We do a whole section on that. We look at social media, and primarily about Thinking courses is it's all built to teach in a really simple way and helping people get really from A to B and helping them manage it for their own company and their own business based on what they're doing. So shop aside, let's get talking. Let's get the questions out. So I'm pleased that Camilla, you're here. I have your question here that from what I could understand translated. So you're transitioning from what I can understand, you're transitioning from a new career, and you've got your old branding, and you're worried that it may confuse audiences, given that you have, I think, transitioning from yourself a marketing background, and you're really kind of flourishing with your art, which is fantastic. So a whole new side. So I wanted to broach that. Would you say, Camilla, that was a good topic? That was a good way to sum up your question? Great. Okay. Really pleased. Thank you. Just a little side tip here. Whilst I'm doing this, I'm actually recording myself via Otter, and I'm going to turn that and transition that into a new piece of content as well. So that's a little add-on bonus for you there. So transitioning to a UK career. Now, it's quite, without seeing your branding, and I'm thinking visually, it's a little confusing. However, I think given that you have different audiences and different markets, that it's absolutely fine to use KC in both contexts. And I think if anything, it could probably help you. Again, this depends on your strategy. So, for example, if you're it depends on your strategy of how you're going to be selling your art. If it's through, for example, you might be doing something different and bespoke, or maybe I don't know, a collaboration or something. You could be doing an exhibition, so you'll have your artist logo within that. But you might also then, if you're sending out press releases and so forth, you can have your own KC marketing logo on there. The only thing is design wise, you might want to, I would say, differentiate the design or the color, and maybe just slightly, because you can show that you have that connection. It's not necessarily a bad thing to show that you have these connections. It depends. And again, the other thing I should bring up is that a lot of people, to backtrack a little bit, a lot of people get really hung up when they first start a company or they first start a new initiative or business idea, and they really get hung up on the branding and the website and how it should look and how it should be. It's fine. Set it up now and you'll have time to develop it as what you offer evolves as well. So that's kind of a crucial point. I've rebranded, I think, about 4 times in the last, there's a few people who remember my very old branding. And it's even stuff like I've still got remnants of the old brand as well. So you can take those bits and maybe tweak on it. Again, put an artistic tweak in it. For example, maybe use the same font, but a brush stroke behind it or something to, of color, particularly that yellow. I think you use that on that beautiful piece that you've done. So using that behind it, and that'll be your branding for your artist's work. And it's still early days for that. So I think that your marketing, my feeling is that your marketing will actually only support what you do, especially if you're using those marketing tactics. So, for example, you're doing an exhibition, you might do that with regards to the press release. If you're doing it within Etsy, you might use other means to direct traffic through to that. So, for example, doing any advertising or branding. On that, you will need your artist symbol. But I shouldn't worry about getting it mixed up, particularly as previously your clients, I think, were quite, a lot of them are artistic as well. So that's something that can pay in good stead. And of course, when you have, it gives you a bit of a background story on your branding on your website. You will talk about the fact that you have been a aerial performer, as well as doing marketing, as well as, I mean, it helps a little bit because I know about your background. So I think at this stage, in this early stage for you, in regards to not your marketing, but in regards to creating your new brand, new product, that you don't necessarily, don't get hung up on it being perfect initially, and using KC in both contexts, just visually disconnect to them. So, for example, one's red and the other one's yellow, for example. But actually having a connection there means you can also open it up and contact past clients, and maybe, for example, get into private views, and get them to, connect and with their connect with their brands on the social networks as well, and get them being part of that conversation. It can help drive all that additional traffic to your website as well from the people who are looking for your style of work. Again, it depends which portals you might want to. And when I say portals, touch points, which touch points you might want to push your work out and promote it through there. The main thing is, I'm assuming you'll be on a couple of, there's quite a few art catalogs, libraries as well, art banks, where people can go and purchase. So you'll maybe drive a lot through there. Again, depends upon the commission rate. Anyway, I hope that has answered, your question. If there's any others, like I know you mentioned something about you set up, you've done the SEO and all of that stuff. I think it sounds like you're doing the right thing, and not to get too hung up or worried about the design. That can really pull us all back. Okay. So another question I've had come through from people, which is a great one as well, is do I need a blog in these times of social media when we're all on all the different channels? Okay, so this is a great one, because I've been talking, and I'll come back to that. I've been talking a lot with people this week about the transitioning of old habits within marketing and our expectation of how it should be, and the new habits as well. So, firstly, do you need a blog? No, you don't need a blog. If you don't want a blog, it creates yet more work. However, what does a blog really do? A blog is all about really SEO. It's a fantastic way of bringing in backlinks, driving it into your site. Fantastic way of creating new content for your site. It really sort of supports your SEO. It supports your audience, and you may not get an awful lot of traction there initially, having a blog, but it is, not to mention, you can embed videos, you can embed a whole load of the content, particularly the content that you've seen has been quite successful. You can embed that within your site as well. It's a great way of, and people to find you and what you do, and particularly that audience that finds you, and they keep driving. Again, SEO, you find the right audience, they find your information, they keep driving back to your website, which tells all the search engines, bing, 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 these are the right people, these are brackets, this is where we're connecting with, for example. You can also use it, push it out through PPC. You can use it great for lead capture as well. So aside from that sitting within your site, it's also great content to have, that you can then push out onto other platforms. So for example, in your newsletter, where it might be a really helpful tip. For example, if you offer training, you might do a post on, which is something, well, I'll get to that in a second, but you might do a post that will answer a particular question that came up for your, that came up in the training session, that's been really helpful. That in itself is going to shorten your sales lead time. It's all about sort of getting those, even those FAQs or the search terms that come up when you check out your Google console, for example. You can transfer that into creating a blog post which will answer your issue. And then that itself you can pass on to your sales team, for example, or to make things easier so people learn the process of how it works. And it just shortens the shortens that time between them coming back and going, I don't get it. What do you do here? How does this work there? So you can transfer that information. You can make it, the term is repurpose. You can repurpose the blog post into 5 slides and pop them onto Instagram, pop them onto LinkedIn, particularly for your company community. You can use them to, you can create a podcast around it, or there's lots of potential of where you can thread off from blog posts and how it can actually be repurposed into other mediums. That's really going to help a lot of people, depending on, so it's not, when we think of a blog, we always think it's a static thing that sits within either a website or someone's independent blog, but actually it can have legs and be a lot easier to repurpose and flip out there. And that's the same, same as video, essentially. This is why with video we can, as I said, you can record it, you can transcribe it, you can, and then turn, you can turn all of these bits into alternative different posts. It's all about shortening that space and that lead time. And again, it depends upon what subject matter, what subject you want to do it on, what is going to be of value to your target audience. My blog, for example, the KMC blog, is something that is there for our agency and training clients. It's there to be a resource, something of value that they can go back to again and again. So it becomes a library and something that answers their questions. And this really just helps us. And the more that we get those questions, the more we can go, great question, and transform that into being a post elsewhere. So, okay, technical issue. It's all fine. So I hope that's helped. Who asked about the blog? That was a great, interesting topic. The other one, so I've had another question come through as well. Interestingly, two of these were from Instagram. One was from LinkedIn. So there you go. Social networks feeding back, which is great. What is the best channel for getting quality leads? Quality leads, that's kind of the big thing there. So the best channel, let's break that down. What is it you do? Who's your target audience? Oh, I know it's a cliche. I know we always keep asking those same questions, but it really does come down to that. So, for example, where we had, was it Tom's Shoes, who did really, really well on Instagram, and that was at the beginning, in the beginning days of it developing, and they did really well because they created. It was all about a cause that they created around their story, their brand message. Again, it's the type of thing, though, if you sit down and go, what's our brand message? Let's get this. It's actually very difficult to pull out. You sort of develop the message as your company, as your brand evolves, and as you have that sort of interaction with your customers as well. So, best channel. Which channel do you want? There's so many touch points. I know it's been mentioned. So it's been mentioned before, where I've heard from a couple of people talking about, and I'm going to get back to the rest of that question about quality leads, because that's really the main point. But a lot of people have talked about, so which touch point do you work on? Now, there are multiple different touch points across when we work within digital marketing. Knowing which one to go to and spend the most amount of time versus how valuable it is. So we can use a lot of tools to work that out. But again, that does come with knowledge and experience. And I often find that's kind of that I have clients, and that's a common question that comes up, is how do I pick the right ones and then manage all of that? Because it really does take a lot of time, understanding where you're going and what you're doing to actually get those quality leads back as well. Hence why that question. So it's about lacking direction. And we all get stuck with that. Again, like I said, it comes down to, and that's how I work with clients on those, particularly in the one-to-one as well. So, best channel for getting quality leads back. So, when we talk about channel, which channel? Are we talking about different touch points? Email marketing, your social media, of course, in that context, thinking Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Clubhouse, LinkedIn, and what kind of methodology do you use, or what kind of, not methodology is the right word, process do you use when you're going out and seeking those quality leads, particularly? So the process of not just driving people back to your site, and not even kind of, lead captures are very good, very, very good. But even coming down to having a squeeze page and kind of having that sales, you need to get people to that section. Where do they sort of build that trust in at the very beginning? So that's really about mind mapping and mapping your consumer journey. But also within that, as you develop and grow your consumer journey, you're starting to see that you need a lot more processes in, and you need a lot more not just processes, but you need to understand how people are going to use that technology, which device they're coming from, where they're going to, how they're going to interact with it, how fast, how much time do they have? For example, I think we had a great question from Sonia last week, was about what's the best time. Now that depends. What's the best time to post? I think it was on Instagram. That depends upon who your target market are. I know with her brand, her target market are parents, and she's a very active hands-on parent. And so she knows the best time of actually, 11 o'clock, bang, this is when people are going to be sitting down and scrolling, when the children, their energy levels slow down a bit, and they're going to get a second to interact with their mobiles, for example. When you want to contact a B2B lead, a lot of people find that, a B2B lead, depending on which aspect. So if you're looking at an executive, you're looking at your 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. If you're looking at your business owner, you might see more interaction happening within the weekend. However, because that's the time when they've actually got time to think. It depends upon your audience, and when do they have space to sort of make that break. You might also be talking about, you might focus on selling productivity workshops, for example. And Thursday and Friday might be your core market when you can actually make that sale, but you spend a lot of time nurturing those leads within Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I know this happens also within e-commerce and the fashion industry. Particularly, there was a company I worked with, particularly younger generation, sort of like teens, your Hollyoaks watchers, as it were. And they got an awful lot of traffic around about the Sunday, which was sort of around about your hangover period. And they saw their sales happen predominantly on the Wednesday and Thursday. This was in preparation of the following weekend. And this became quite a clear habit and process that they saw. So they built their marketing strategy around that. They sent out their emails Sunday morning about sort of the process of viewing. They checked out the search terms that people brought up on the Saturday, the Sunday morning, and the Monday morning, which drove them back to their website as well, and where they saw the strongest traffic come from. So depending on who your audience are, it really does. They may start on one platform and actually finish on another, but you need to consider their device. You need to consider the timing as well. So for example, sometimes speaking to a top level key decision maker late at night may be the only time that they have to frame that. But their decision making is going to be weaker, so they need to be very clear on what it is that they're getting from the onset. However, if you do it in the morning, they tend to sort of like to think around that process. Again, it depends upon what your product or your service is as well. Okay. So, in a nutshell, what's the best channel for getting quality leads? I think it should be what's the best device, and then what's the process of getting those leads through and in, and getting them to sign up or getting them to confirm as well. So you want to get sort of payment through. Again, it depends upon what it is you're offering. So if there's any more questions at all, I might wrap it up. Slow down. There's a lot to think there. So thank you very much for listening and watching, everyone. Still ironing out the tech. We'll see what's happened. Only because it's a new streaming platform I'm using, which has so far been brilliant, apart from a few issues. So just to clarify, I work with clients one-to-one, helping them move forward, get focus, have a lot more freedom and faster, quicker results. And I just make it really easy and simple. And we plot that. But again, every business and every person is different and unique. So the approach is always different. We also offer digital marketing services. So if you want to outsource any of your social media, your content, your video marketing, web design, SEO, any of that, we have the team to do that. And we also offer a wide range of digital training as well. So if there's anything there, particularly with the training, if there's anything that you would like to attend, Again, they're never longer than two. I think there's two of them that are 3 hours long, but generally they're never longer than 2 hours because we just know that you get zoomed out. So with so yeah, so if there's anything, any if you'd like to speak to me about any of those, please PM me or the team on any of the channels. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Please PM me with your details, and yeah, we'll set up a call and see if I can help you in that direction. If there's anything else that you are interested in, I might start doing this on a regular basis. Let me know. I would love to cover more of your questions and see if I can help you specifically. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. And take care. Have a great rest of the day. Cheers. Bye.